Emergence. The Solarian Alliance never saw it coming. For decades, humanity had expanded cautiously into the stars, establishing colonies on distant worlds, building trade networks, and advancing their technology. But they were not alone. The vast Vexeri Empire had watched from the shadows, patient and calculating, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The assault began at the outer colonies. Communication networks fell silent one by one as Vexari warships emerged from hyperspace, their gleaming obsidian hulls absorbing sensor scans and their powerful weapons reducing orbital defenses to ash within minutes. 15 human colonies fell in less than a week, millions dead or captured, and countless more displaced. On Earth, the Alliance Council convened in an emergency session. Reports flooded in from across the frontier. The Vexeri advance was methodical and overwhelming. Military analysts projected total collapse of human resistance within 30 days. Surrender seemed inevitable. But Commander Alexandra Stern had other plans. Project Nemesis is ready, she stated flatly, standing at attention before the council. Her weathered face betrayed no emotion, but her steel-gray eyes burned with determination. At 42, Stern had spent 2 decades in military service, the last 5 overseeing humanity's most classified weapons program. The prototype isn't cleared for deployment, Admiral Kovacs argued. We don't even know if the gravitational displacement drive works beyond simulations. With respect, sir, Stern replied, we're out of conventional options. The Vexeri fleet will reach Saturn's orbit in 3 days. After that, Earth is next. Council President Chen leaned forward, her expression grim. Even if Nemesis works as designed, you're proposing to take a single ship against an armada. One is all we need, Stern replied. In the cavernous underground hangar beneath Olympus Mons, the Nemesis waited, a vessel unlike any humanity had built before. Its irregular shape defied traditional spacecraft design, with asymmetrical hull plates and what appeared to be massive voids throughout its structure. To the untrained eye, it looked incomplete, perhaps even damaged. But Alexandra Stern saw beauty in its alien geometry. The ship represented humanity's greatest achievement, a fusion of reverse-engineered alien technology and human innovation, capable of manipulating the very fabric of space-time. Final systems check complete, reported Lieutenant Kai Nakamura, Nemesis tactical officer. His fingers flew across holographic interfaces, confirming the ship's readiness. Displacement drive nominal. Quantum cascade emitters charge. Nano-swarm defenses active. Stern settled into the command chair, feeling its adaptive cushioning conform to her body. Around her, 23 crew members, the best minds the Alliance could offer, finalized preparations for launch. Each had volunteered knowing this mission might be one way. Communications, transmit final authorization codes to command, Stern ordered. Navigation, plot intercept course with the Vexeri Vanguard near Titan. Aye, Captain, replied Navigator Eliza Wong. Course plotted. Displacement jump will require 17 minutes to calculate. Stern nodded. Engineering, prime the displacement drive. Weapons, bring cascade emitters to standby. As the massive hangar doors parted above them, revealing the rust-colored Martian sky, Stern addressed her crew over the internal comms. Men and women of the Nemesis, what we do today will determine whether humanity survives as a free species or becomes another footnote in the Vexeri Empire's long history of conquest. Our mission isn't just to fight. It's to show these aliens that they've made a terrible miscalculation. The ship rose silently from its berth, accelerating rapidly through the thin Martian atmosphere. Within minutes, they'd left the red planet behind, the displacement drive humming with gathering energy. Jump calculations complete, Wong announced. Ready on your command. Stern drew a deep breath. Engage. Reality seemed to fold around them. The stars stretched and blurred, and for a fraction of a second, every crew member felt as though they existed in multiple places simultaneously. Then, with a soundless flash, the Nemesis emerged in the shadow of Saturn, less than 10,000 kilometers from the Vexeri battle group. On the main view screen, Stern beheld the enemy for the first time. 8 Vexeri warships, their hulls gleaming with an iridescent black sheen that seemed to drink in the light from Saturn's rings. Each was at least 3 times the size of Earth's largest battleships, bristling with weapon emplacements. "They're detecting us," Nakamura reported, tension evident in his voice. "Reading energy spikes across all vessels. They're charging weapons." Stern's expression remained calm. "Deploy quantum cascade. Target the lead vessel." The Nemesis shuddered slightly as invisible energies gathered along its hull. From what would appear to be empty space, the apparent voids in the ship's structure, reality itself seemed to ripple. The lead Vexeri cruiser fired first, a brilliant lance of coherent plasma streaking across space toward them. But instead of impacting the Nemesis, the beam suddenly curved, as if deflected by an invisible force, harmlessly dissipating into the void. "Gravitational lensing defensive screen holding," reported Chief Engineer Durga Singh. "They can't touch us, Captain." "Return fire," Stern ordered. The quantum cascade activated. Unlike conventional weapons that travel through space, the cascade effect propagated through the underlying quantum field, ignoring the limitations of physical space. Inside the targeted Vexeri vessel, atoms briefly lost coherence with their neighboring particles. The effect lasted less than a microsecond, but it was enough. The Vexeri flagship shuddered, then broke apart from within, sections of hull peeling away like petals from a blooming flower. There was no explosion, just a silent, catastrophic structural failure. Silence fell across the Nemesis bridge as the crew watched in awe. Years of theoretical work, simulations, and development had culminated in this moment, proof that humanity could stand against the technological might of an interstellar empire. The remaining Vexeri ships scattered, firing wildly as they attempted to regroup. Their weapons, devastating against conventional defenses, proved ineffective against the Nemesis's gravitational distortion field. "They're attempting to communicate," reported Communications Officer Reyes. "Multiple frequencies." "Put them through," Stern commanded. The view screen flickered, revealing a Vexeri commander. The alien's elongated skull housed 4 luminous eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Its skin had a bluish metallic sheen, and intricate patterns of bioluminescent markings pulsed across its visible exoskeleton. "This is Supreme Commander Vex Arath of the glorious Vexeri Empire." The alien spoke, its voice a harmonious blend of tones that the translation software rendered into English. "Your resistance is unprecedented but futile. Surrender your vessel and its technological secrets, and your species will be permitted to exist as a protectorate rather than slaves." Stern rose from her command chair. "This is Captain Alexandra Stern of the Solarian Alliance. We don't recognize your authority in this system or any other. The attack on our colonies constitutes an act of war against humanity, and we will respond accordingly." Vexarath's upper eyes narrowed. "Curious. Your species was assessed as technologically inferior, suitable only for resource extraction and biological research. This assessment appears incomplete." "Drastically incomplete," Stern replied coldly. "Here's our counteroffer. Withdraw all forces from human space immediately. Any Vexeri vessel remaining in our territory in 24 hours will be destroyed." The alien commander made a gesture that the translation software couldn't interpret. "You destroy one ship and believe you control the situation. The Vexeri Empire spans 17,000 star systems. We can lose 100 battle groups and still crush your species beneath our heel." "Perhaps," Stern acknowledged. "But your empire hasn't encountered humanity before. We're not like the other species you've subjugated. We don't surrender, we adapt. And right now, you're facing the product of that adaptation." Without warning, the Nemesis displacement drive activated. In an instant, the ship vanished from its position and reappeared directly alongside the largest remaining Vexeri vessel. "Target their propulsion systems," Stern ordered. "Precision cascade only." The quantum effect rippled through space again, this time carefully modulated. The Vexari warship's engines died instantly, leaving it adrift. "Boarding teams, prepare for insertion," Stern commanded. "I want their command bridge secured and their commander in our brig within 15 minutes. The operation proceeded with surgical precision, using personal displacement devices, smaller versions of the Nemesis primary drive. Human strike teams materialized directly on the Vexari vessel's bridge and key control points. The aliens, accustomed to overwhelming technological superiority, were unprepared for such direct infiltration. Within minutes, the ship was under human control. Back on the Nemesis, Stern personally interrogated the captured Vexari sub-commander, a high-ranking officer named Lithvar. "Your arrival was unexpected," the alien admitted, multi-jointed appendages shifting nervously. "Our intelligence indicated that humans had not yet mastered faster-than-light technology, let alone gravitational manipulation." "We're full of surprises," Stern replied, circling the detention cell. "Now tell me why the Vexari Empire decided to attack us." Lithvar's bioluminescent patterns flickered in what the synopsychologists interpreted as resignation. "Your species was designated for harvesting. Your biological composition contains unique neurochemical compounds valuable for extending Vexari lifespans, and your worlds sit atop unusually rich deposits of decoherent matter, essential for our most advanced technologies." "Harvesting," Stern repeated, disgust evident in her voice. "You mean extermination?" "Not entirely," the alien replied. "The most genetically valuable specimens would be preserved in biostasis facilities. Approximately 12% of your population would be maintained for continuous extraction." Stern fought to maintain her composure. "And you've done this to other species." 17 in recent imperial history. Lithvar's upper eyes blinked in sequence. "It is the natural order. The strong consume the weak. The Vexari ascend. All else serves or perishes." Stern leaned closer to the containment field. "Then you've never encountered true strength before. Because strength isn't about consuming the weak. It's about protecting them. And humanity is about to teach your empire that lesson." As she exited the brig, Lieutenant Nakamura approached with urgent news. "Captain, we've decrypted their communication logs. The Vexari Emperor has dispatched their primary battle fleet, over 300 vessels, to crush what they're calling the human anomaly. They'll arrive within 7 days." Stern nodded grimly. "Then we have 1 week to prepare our response. Alert the Alliance Council. Operation Defiance Protocol is now in effect." As the Nemesis slipped back into displacement transit, heading for Earth, Stern gazed at the tactical display, showing the advancing Vexari Armada. They were facing overwhelming odds, but humanity had one advantage the Vexari couldn't comprehend. Humans had spent their entire history fighting against overwhelming odds and surviving. The real war was just beginning. Reckoning. The Vexari Imperial Throne Chamber stretched for nearly a kilometer, its vaulted ceiling disappearing into darkness high above. Fossilized remains of conquered species formed the support columns, a grotesque reminder of the Empire's philosophy of dominance. At the chamber's far end, Emperor Vex Mithras sat upon the eternal throne, his massive form nearly twice the size of ordinary Vexari, centuries of life extension treatments having warped his physiology into something monstrous yet revered. "Explain," he commanded, his multi-tone voice reverberating through the chamber, "how a single human vessel destroyed our vanguard fleet." Supreme Admiral Vex Kareth prostrated himself before the throne. "Most exalted one, the humans have developed technology that defies our understanding. Their vessel manipulated gravitational fields in ways our scientists believe theoretically impossible. Our weapons could not penetrate their defenses." "Impossible," the Emperor hissed. "We have studied human development for decades. They are primitive, barely capable of interplanetary travel." "Evidently, they have been concealing their true capabilities," the Admiral replied carefully. "Or perhaps they have evolved more rapidly than anticipated." The Emperor's bioluminescent patterns flashed in anger. "No species evolves faster than the Vexari. We are the pinnacle of galactic evolution. From the shadows beside the throne stepped Chief Geneticist Vex Loren, the Empire's foremost expert on inferior species. Perhaps not evolution, your magnificence, but adaptation. Our preliminary analysis of the captured data suggests the humans have somehow reverse-engineered technology from multiple species, technology they should not have encountered. Thieves, then, the Emperor concluded. They have stolen what they could not develop themselves. More concerning, continued the geneticist, the neurochemical profiles we seek are likely connected to their unusual cognitive adaptability. Humans appear capable of conceptual leaps that our methodical approach to science cannot match. The Emperor rose from his throne, towering over his advisors. It changes nothing. The harvest will proceed. Deploy the main fleet, crush this human resistance, and bring me their adaptive minds for study. The Vexari Empire will not be challenged by primitives, no matter what technology they have scavenged. As the Imperial command echoed through subspace to the gathering armada, humanity was preparing its response. On Earth, the Alliance Council had transformed the Grand Assembly Hall into a war room. Representatives from all human colonies, those that remained, gathered physically or via hologram to witness Captain Stern's report. The Vexari aren't just conquerors, Stern explained, standing before the assembled leaders. They're harvesters. They see us as resources to be exploited, our minds for their scientific advancement, our bodies for their life extension treatments. President Chen's face paled. And you believe they've done this before? To at least 17 other species, Stern confirmed. According to the captured sub-commander, it's their standard approach to expanding their empire. They identify promising species, study them covertly, then strike when they believe resistance will be minimal. But they miscalculated with us, Admiral Kovacs interjected. The Nemesis project proved that. One ship isn't enough to stop an empire, Stern replied. But it has bought us time and information. The Vexari are sending their main fleet, over 300 warships. They'll arrive in 7 days. Murmurs of dismay spread through the assembly. How can we possibly defend against such numbers? Asked the Mars colonial representative. Even with the Nemesis technology, we can't build enough ships in a week. Stern's expression remained determined. We don't need to match their numbers. The Defiance Protocol isn't about conventional warfare. It's about changing the rules of engagement. She activated a holographic display showing complex schematics. The Nemesis displacement drive doesn't just move through space. It manipulates the underlying quantum field. With modifications, we can extend this effect beyond our ship. Chief Engineer Singh stepped forward. We're proposing to create a cascading displacement field throughout the Sol system. Essentially, we'll alter the quantum signature of our entire territory, making it incompatible with Vexari technology. Like changing the fundamental constants of physics, but only for them. Stern added, their weapons won't function correctly. Their shields will fail. Their navigational systems will go haywire. President Chen looked skeptical. Is this even possible? Theoretically, Singh admitted, but it would require a network of displacement field generators positioned throughout the system, all calibrated to work in perfect synchronization. And power, added Lieutenant Nakamura, more power than humanity has ever generated at once. Stern nodded, which is why we need to tap the sun directly. We've designed solar taps that can channel the energy we need, if we can deploy them in time. For 3 days and nights, the debate raged. Some council members favored conventional resistance. Others suggested negotiation or even partial surrender. But as more data from the captured Vexari vessel was analyzed, revealing the true extent of the Empire's atrocities against other species, consensus formed around the Defiance Protocol. On the 4th day, humanity mobilized as never before. Every ship, every construction facility, every available resource was diverted to building the displacement field network. Mining operations on Mercury were repurposed to construct the massive solar taps. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock, refining the theoretical models that would make the impossible possible. Meanwhile, the Nemesis wasn't idle. Stern led her ship on surgical strikes against the advancing Vexari fleet, appearing from nowhere to disable key vessels before vanishing again. These weren't meant to significantly reduce enemy numbers. That would have been futile, but to gather intelligence and, more importantly, to sow confusion and fear. "They're changing formation again," reported Navigator Wong during one such operation, tightening their defensive perimeter. "They're learning." "Good," Stern replied, surprising her crew. "I want them clustered together when we spring the trap." On the sixth day, with the Vexari fleet less than 24 hours from Earth, Stern returned to the Nemesis after overseeing the final calibrations of the displacement network. Her uniform was wrinkled, her eyes bloodshot from lack of sleep, but her resolve remained unshaken. "Status report," she demanded, striding onto the bridge. "Network deployment at 97%, replied Singh. "Solar taps operating at capacity. We're channeling more energy than humanity has used in its entire history." "The Vexari fleet has accelerated," added Wong. "They'll enter the outer system in 10 hours, reach Earth in 14. Stern nodded. "And our captured friend?" "Sub-Commander Lithfair has provided additional intelligence," reported Security Chief Martinez. "The Vexari Emperor himself is accompanying the fleet aboard their flagship, the Imperial Fist. Apparently, he couldn't resist witnessing our subjugation personally." A cold smile touched Stern's lips. "That simplifies matters. Prepare for final displacement jump. We're going to deliver our message directly." The Nemesis emerged from displacement transit directly in the path of the oncoming Vexari Armada, a tiny speck against the overwhelming force arrayed against humanity. Immediately, energy readings spiked across the enemy fleet as weapons systems locked on. "Open a channel," Stern ordered. "All frequencies, maximum broadcast strength." The view screen flickered, eventually resolving into the grotesque visage of Emperor Vex Mithras. His four eyes widened in what might have been surprise or contempt. "Human," he rumbled, "your persistence is remarkable but futile. You stand before the might of the Vexari Empire with a single vessel. Even with your unusual technology, you cannot prevail against hundreds." "I'm not here to fight, Emperor," Stern replied calmly. "I'm here to give you one final opportunity to withdraw from human space." The Emperor's laughter was a discordant symphony of tones. "Your arrogance exceeds even my intelligence reports. Perhaps we have underestimated your species' capacity for self-delusion." "Not delusion. Determination." Stern's voice hardened. "Humanity will not be harvested, subjugated, or destroyed. We've studied your empire, your methods, your weaknesses. If you proceed, you will not only fail, you will fall." "Enough," the Emperor roared. "Your species will serve the Vexari as all lesser beings must. Your resistance ends today." Stern nodded slightly. "So be it." She terminated the transmission and addressed her crew. "Battle stations, initiate defiance protocol on my mark." Throughout the Sol system, the displacement field generators powered up simultaneously, drawing unprecedented energy from the solar taps. On the Nemesis, Stern watched the tactical display as the Vexari fleet advanced, weapons hot. 3 minutes to optimal field convergence, reported Singh, monitoring the network's power levels. "They're firing," warned Nakamura as the leading edge of the Vexari fleet unleashed a barrage that would have vaporized a planet. "Evasive maneuvers," Stern ordered. "Hold position just long enough." The Nemesis shuddered as it pushed its gravitational defenses to their limits, deflecting the massive energy assault. Secondary systems failed. Emergency lights flashed, but the ship held together. "Field convergence in 30 seconds, Singh announced, his voice strained. "All hands, brace for displacement," Stern commanded. Targeting calculations locked on Earth orbit. As the Vexari weapons prepared for a second volley, Stern gave the final order: activate defiance protocol. Now, throughout the solar system, reality itself seemed to shiver. The quantum displacement field expanded outward from each generator node, overlapping, reinforcing, transforming the fundamental nature of space within human territory. The Nemesis vanished an instant before the Vexari weapons fired again. In Earth orbit, the Nemesis reappeared among the hastily assembled human defense fleet, a motley collection of retrofitted civilian vessels and outdated military ships, their crews prepared for a last stand they knew they couldn't win. "It's done," Stern announced over the unified command channel. "Now we wait." They didn't wait long. The Vexari fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, their obsidian hulls gleaming in Earth's reflected light. For a moment, nothing happened as the massive armada oriented itself toward the significantly smaller human defense force. Then, chaos erupted. Vexari ships began to drift out of formation, their engines sputtering. Weapon systems discharged randomly or not at all. Communication arrays emitted garbled nonsense across all frequencies. Some vessels collided with each other as their navigational systems failed catastrophically. "It's working," breathed Nakamura, watching the tactical display with astonishment. "Their technology is completely compromised." The displacement field had done exactly as theorized. It had altered the quantum constants within human space just enough to render Vexari technology unreliable or inoperable. Systems designed to operate with precise quantum-level interactions now found themselves in an environment where those interactions followed slightly different rules. "Target the Imperial Fist," Stern ordered. "Precise displacement jump." The Nemesis vanished again, reappearing alongside the massive Vexari flagship. Unlike the other vessels, the Imperial Fist maintained some functionality. Its more advanced systems adapting, however imperfectly, to the changed conditions. "They're attempting to establish shields," reported Singh, "but they're fluctuating, unstable." "Deploy boarding teams," Stern commanded. "Primary objective, capture the Emperor. Secondary, secure their central database." As the strike teams prepared for deployment, a desperate transmission came through from the Imperial Fist. "What have you done?" demanded the Emperor, his image distorted by interference. "This is impossible. You cannot change the laws of physics." "Not the laws," Stern corrected him. "Just your interpretation of them. Consider this humanity's answer to your empire's arrogance." The boarding operation met fiercer resistance than on the previous Vexari vessel. The Imperial Guard fought fanatically to protect their emperor, but their weapons malfunctioned unpredictably in the altered quantum field, while the human strike team's simpler, projectile-based weapons operated without issue. After 47 minutes of intense fighting, Captain Stern stood in the Imperial throne room aboard the Vexari flagship, facing the Emperor himself. Behind her, Alliance Marines secured the chamber's perimeter. "You should have accepted our offer to withdraw," Stern said, her sidearm trained on the massive alien. "Kill me, and the Empire will burn every human world to ash." Vex Mithras snarled. "You misunderstand the situation," Stern replied. "We're not going to kill you. We're going to educate you." She gestured to Lieutenant Nakamura, who activated a holographic display showing the current state of the Vexari fleet: ships disabled, crews surrendering, the mighty armada reduced to floating hulks. "The displacement field is permanent," Stern continued. "We can maintain it indefinitely. Your empire ends at the boundary of human space. Try to enter again, and the same fate awaits you." "Impossible," the Emperor insisted. "No power source could maintain such a field." "Solar taps," Stern explained. "Directly harnessing our star's energy. We have enough power to maintain this field for millennia if necessary." For the first time, uncertainty flickered across the Emperor's features. "What do you want?" "Peace," Stern answered simply. "Recognition of human sovereignty. Reparations for the colonies you destroyed. And—" she paused, her expression hardening, "the release of all species currently being harvested by your empire." The Emperor's bioluminescent patterns flashed in rage. "You destroy the foundation of our civilization. The Vexari have ruled for 10,000 years. Then it's time for evolution, Stern replied. Adapt or perish. Isn't that the natural order you're so fond of? In the days that followed, with their emperor captive and their fleet disabled, the Vexari Empire faced an unprecedented crisis. Their attempts to send additional forces into human space met with the same crippling effects of the displacement field. For the first time in their long history of conquest, they faced a species they could neither subjugate nor destroy. 3 months later, representatives from 17 species gathered on Earth's neutral ground station, alongside human diplomats and Vexari emissaries. The Treaty of Sol was signed, establishing new boundaries for Vexari territory and guaranteeing the freedom of all previously harvested species. As Captain Alexandra Stern watched the ceremony from the observation deck of the Nemesis, now permanently stationed as Earth's guardian, Lieutenant Nakamura joined her. Intelligence reports the Vexari are already adapting, he said quietly. Their scientists are studying ways to overcome the displacement field. Stern nodded, unsurprised. And by the time they do, we'll have moved beyond it to the next innovation. That's the true strength of humanity, Lieutenant. Not that we're smarter or stronger, but that we never stop evolving. Below them, Earth shimmered blue and green, protected not just by technology, but by the unbreakable human spirit that had faced extinction and instead forced an empire to bend. The stars beyond seemed closer somehow, more accessible, as if the universe itself had recognized humanity's right to exist among its wonders. The Defiance Protocol had succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. Humanity hadn't just survived. It had changed the balance of power in the galaxy forever. And somewhere out there, other empires were surely watching, recalculating their assessments of the species that had brought the mighty Vexari to their knees. They would be wise to tread carefully.